Yo. Okay, I'm gonna kill the music so that we can actually like talk and whatnot. Okay.
Oh, I was vibing.
I have opinions. I have a lot of opinions about this game, and you know they're here, and you know it's gonna be a time.
We're quit. No, I'm kidding. Well, I guess maybe one of us are.
Yeah, it's. This is a game. Before we get into any game stuff, welcome in everybody. How we doing? I see Jax. I see Port Break. Welcome in, y'all. Appreciate y'all being here.
FF8, it's a lot of fun. Well, I mean, you're playing a randomizer, so.
Port Break, FF8 would fall in the same category as this game. I said that off the record, so there we go.
All right. This is gonna be great.
Yeah, I was standing here wondering. I did stream the ending in P-Stone's Discord. I think he's talking about the ending of this game. Yeah, so I did stream the ending of this in P-Stone's Discord. That did happen.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's right. You did.
That is canon. This might be the shortest episode ever.
Maybe a little bit.
This might be the shortest episode ever. Because I'm not going to lie. Not only did I... It's been less than a month, and I don't remember much of the game because it's like repressed. Like I don't want to re-experience it. So this is ripping a scar. This is ripping a scar open. Like
It's gonna cancel us. You know that, right?
It is what it is. It is what it is.
I still have my copy. It's itty.
Look, chat, no hands. Yeah, no, that I sold that game as soon as I beat it.
Yeah, you literally listed it the same night, didn't you?
Yes, I did. And I sold it like 2 days later. It was great to somebody who apparently loves the game. And yeah. Oh no, I remember those details. Don't worry. Tree memories, yeah.
P-Stone? Oh my god.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, let's just jump in.
Let's just get into it. I think we're already kind of technically spoiling things, so
yeah.
Let me bring up my little...
We are officially starting now. So welcome in everybody to the next episode of Turnbased Tangents. We got a good one. We have a good review, not a very good game. I'm just gonna throw that out there right now. Yeah, it's gonna be a time. I apologize in advance. I'm running on very little sleep, and I also didn't really like this game, so I'm gonna be a little bit more blunt and open and honest than I normally would be, which is kind of scary because I'm always blunt and brutally honest.
I was just about to say. I'll try to add in a little bit of the sugar. It's
gonna be a lot of fun. So we're covering Breath of Fire. We're covering Breath of Fire 2, everybody.
This is it here. I have the GBA version of it.
I also played the GBA version. However, my copy is long sold to somebody who loves this game. I didn't think there were people that did love this game, but yeah. So
fun fact. Now I'm going to reveal the spoiler. So KJ thinks I played the GBA version. A lot of people did. I did not. I played the Super Nintendo version on the Switch to add in a little extra, something, because I thought maybe, it would, not be that bad. And yeah, we're going to get into it. I saw yours. Yeah, see,
Meanwhile, I haven't picked up the Switch in like months, so I had no idea, but it's all good. I don't really.
I punished myself a little bit. I punished myself a little bit. So with the why we're talking about this is because the Super Nintendo version of it is what the Switch has. It has a port version of it, but it has a handy little feature called Rewind, so you could like rewind battles and stuff like that.
Oh, that is cheating. That is cheating.
In my defense, I didn't actually use it. I did not actually
you
use it.
You can rewind.
But...
Yo, throw the whole podcast away. You had built-in save states. You want to know what I played on? I played on the damn Game Boy, the damn Game Boy Advance. Yo, that is crazy.
Told you I was gonna add a twist. I kept telling you there's a twist.
That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy.
So I had every intention to play it on the GBA, and I was super transparent with KJ before we picked this game for the podcast that I did have a play. I had played a little bit of it, but not a whole lot. I didn't get really involved into it. So I said, hey, it would be cool if we got through this game and beat it, because I had never beaten it before. And my save file is on here that I played because I've had this GBA version of it for quite a long time now, which has a few little like quality of life adjustments and stuff over the Super Nintendo version of it. However, I ended up loading it up and then was horribly confused, and I didn't know what was going on, and I was like, okay, this is great. So I started over on the GBA, but then I was like, I want to be different. I want to see this the OG version. So ported onto the Switch. So I loaded it up on the Switch, and I was like, wait, why is it telling me I can rewind? I was super confused.
So you know what you just did? You really this podcast episode was, we were like, okay, we're gonna take the stairs, and you were like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick, and then you just like ducked over to the elevator, pushed the elevator button, waited on the elevator for like however long it took us to get to the top of the stairs, and then showed up a little early. That's crazy. That is crazy.
So it's like, wow.
That said, the SNES version is supposed to be harder, but adding a rewind function is crazy. That is like...
So definitely, if people are gonna play the Super Nintendo version on the Switch with the rewind, I ended up using the rewind at the beginning just to figure out what it was, and then
Time out. First you said you didn't use it. Now you're saying you used it.
Okay, I was testing it out for science. I promise I didn't go through the game. The
betrayal.
The whole thing. It actually was harder. There was a few aspects of it, like the encounter rate for me was brutal. And then when I heard P-Stone and I were pretty well neck and neck the whole time playing the game, and pretty well at the same time. And he had gotten a little ahead of me and was talking about the encounter rate of the final dungeon. And I thought his explanation of it was bad. Oh, we'll talk about it later, but like, oh my goodness.
I'm guessing, so
mad at it.
Now I need to know. Did this also have a fast forward function that you magically didn't use but actually used?
It didn't have any other special abilities. It had rewind, and that was pretty well it. And honestly, I recommend people doing that version. But I ended up playing only a little bit of it, and then I was like, nah, I'll do this legit. I won't piss KJ off, because I knew if I went all the way through it, you'd be mad at me.
Yo, so the fact that you had a rewind...
And I was like, okay, I could see how this function would help specifically for this game, because sometimes there's just like encounters and stuff like that you get into, and then you're like, oh no, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, and you know what I had to do? I had to tough it out and fucking deal with it.
So did I, Mr. Grumpy Pants. I did too.
Rewind.
But yeah, it did have a rewind function, and that was kind of funny. And then, but it's still the Super Nintendo port, so there were times where I almost quit KJ and went back to the GBA version. I'm not kidding you. I was this close a few times because I was just really mad at certain
All you had to do was rewind time, and then you could go back and use the GBA version.
Give me the same where I'm cheating. I get to take the elevator to the end of the game. No,
You're definitely not living this down.
Shit, so I didn't do it.
You're not living this down.
Without doing it.
You're not living
at least doing it.
At least until the end of this podcast year, you're not living this down. No shot.
At least I beat the harder version of the game.
You did. But again,
oh my goodness,
you're totally not living this down.
So funny though. I knew this was gonna blow up a little bit. And perfect reaction because you had no idea. Nobody had any idea. And every time you brought it up,
it sounds like Peastone knew.
I'm playing the game. I never specifically said it was. I just kept saying I was playing.
You definitely did tell me you were playing the GBA version.
Yeah, when I first started, I did. To be fair.
You did say you were playing the GBA
I think it was like 6 or 7 hours into it. I was on this. And then I don't know why, but I guess I just was maybe the masochist in me just wanted. So I loaded up the Switch version and I was just like, okay. And I just liked the feel of the Switch because there was a lot of nights where I was just not sleeping very well, or I was getting up stupid early and Enna was still fast asleep and I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I had the Switch a lot and I found the Switch more comfortable just in the way I had to position myself in bed to play it. So I ended up switching to the Switch for more of an actual real reason was more comfort for me. But I thought it was kind of funny because I was like, oh, I'm just going to keep this a secret and everybody's going to think I'm still playing on the GBA version. And then I'm going to spoil that, no, I was on the Switch. And it's so funny because every time Peastone went online on the Switch, I would go into offline mode because I didn't want him to catch.
I mean, he caught on anyway because he questioned you about having the SNES emulator on over as your most recent played game. So he did catch on.
Yeah,
it did happen.
Yeah, he did. He definitely did. And then I think he was just kind of like waiting it out to see. But yeah, I thought I could be sneaky, but then I would load up because I was playing Trails from Zero, which is on my Switch. I would load it up and right there on the screen is that I had the SNES thing as the most recent thing I played, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I didn't
Polly trying
this
to
out or anything.
Polly out here trying to lie to the Turn-Based Tangents faithful. That is crazy, y'all. I just want y'all to know, Turn-Based Tangents faithful, for however many of you out there that there are, I would not lie to you. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I sold this game. I sold this game as soon as. I sold this game as soon as I beat it. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I sold it ASAP. That game was listed on Mercari as soon as I took it out of the Game Boy. Out of the game. I did also play a little bit on the Game Boy player for the GameCube because I was streaming it in Peastone's Discord. But this game. I feel like this is gonna be a very untraditional episode, just because for me, there's only one thing I actually enjoyed in this game, and everything else I feel like I'm just gonna be dumping on this game. So I'm gonna try my best not to do that. Because
I feel that.
For me, quite a bit of it was either average or not good. The end screen was great because I knew it was over. That is a very good point. There were two things.
You seemed very excited when you beat it in Peastone's Discord.
Oh yeah, no, I was super excited when I beat this game. I could put it down. But no, I think the one thing I will say that was actually really cool about this game was the shaman system. But to kind of explain that is you're basically merging characters with shamans to get different abilities and stats and almost not really classes, but kind of. You get different abilities. It was really, really cool. And with that, it was dope because only certain combinations worked. So I did end up looking up a shaman guide to see what combinations worked and everything. And honestly, by the end of maybe 5 to 10 hours in, I was like, yo, screw this. This game has me backtracking a ton. I'm just going to look up a guide for general guidance. At first, it was just a map. And then it turned into nah, I'm just looking at a guide. Screw this. I don't need a guide to tell me how to beat bosses and stuff, but I really needed a guide to tell me where the hell to go.
And I was really hoping that this game would have learned a little bit from the first game, because that's largely what I had issues with the first game, is that you basically needed a guide to know where to go and when to go, because there was a lot of backtracking and a lot of like things that you wouldn't really like pick up on and stuff. So I was definitely a little disappointed that in this game it was pretty well similar in terms of the amount of backtracking and stuff. And I don't blame you for there's a couple times that I tried my hardest not to look at the guide, but I don't blame you for reading it. It would have saved me a few extra hours, that's for sure. Because there was a couple times where I just got like super confused and I like stumbled into things sometimes just because I was like, oh, this was not where I was supposed to go. This was something secret. Okay, cool. And
I'm not gonna lie, the first handful of hours, I was actually vibing with the game. Like when you get Cat, and then like when you do the Coliseum thing, I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. Like,
and Randy was like a throw to a character. I think that not Randy. Rand. I'm thinking Trails still.
Polly has Randy on the mind. Got it.
my brain, the big guy. There was a lot of like character names that were like throws to Breath of Fire 1. I think Rand was one of them. Bo was definitely one of them. And so yeah, right at the start of the game, like I was into it. I liked the character designs, especially of Cat. I thought Cat was really cool looking, with Cat girl with a bow staff. Like I was for that. And like I liked the little sprite, and on the overworld and stuff like that, the way they looked. And even when you ran into Nina the first time, I was super like interested because she had different colored wings. She looked really different than I've ever seen her in any of the other Breath of Fire games I've played. So I was really curious of like her backstory and stuff like that, because I was like, oh, this is really interesting. So I definitely agree. Like the start of the game, I was like, like this is kind of neat and everything. But goodness, because I was on the Super Nintendo version, the encounter rate and the enemies were hitting like trucks right at the start of the game. I found myself having to level up a bunch.
The encounter rate in the beginning of the GBA one wasn't too bad. The encounter rate really only picked up in certain dungeons, especially the last dungeon. The last dungeon, if I could have thrown the game, I probably would have.
Warned me about that one. And the funny thing is, I was on the Super Nintendo version, and I'm going. It was like he kept saying like, "Oh, every 3 and 4 steps." Mine was every 2 steps. I was so close to telling you I was not finishing this. I was so close, or telling you that we would review it at the end of June so I could go back to the GBA version and like suffer through it. But like that I would have had to go through 95% of the game again.
Because that would have sucked.
It was bad, and it was bad from the beginning. And I think part of the reason why I was able to like push a little bit more through it and stuff with the counter rate as it was on the Super Nintendo version was that I was just kind of like, a lot of the times I was lying in bed kind of like bored because I was up so early. Like I was messaging KJ at 6:30 in the morning, and he's like, what the hell are you doing up this early? And like being like up until like 8 or something like that, playing the game, or 8 or 9, and then falling back to sleep, and then getting up at like 11 and just doing that routine because I wasn't sleeping very well. So I would just be like lying there being like, oh, well, whatever. So it was less of I think if I was like actively like doing it more in my evenings and stuff, I think I might have been a little bit more grumpy. But the Super Nintendo version.
This game took time from me that I can't get back. I feel this game is probably like, I don't know. This has been a rough podcast year so far, because as good as Unicorn Overlord was, Grandia 3 and Breath of Fire 2 are like equally as bad as Unicorn Overlord was good.
Yeah. Unicorn Overlord was fan-friggin-tastic, and I think I was still on that high of that game. And I know I enjoyed Breath of Fire 3 more than KJ did. And I do really love 4 as well. I even like Dragon Quarter, which is a very controversial Breath of Fire. And then I've beaten 1, but I found 1 was a little rough around the edges. But I'm going to say something that might actually shock a lot of people listening to this. I actually found 2 a little bit rougher to get through than 1 because
Interesting.
one is a shorter game. And so while it still had the backtracking and the need of having a guide and things like that at certain points, just to know where you're going, I found the characters some of the characters more interesting.
Hmm.
And it was a shorter game to get through. Because this
Okay.
game, what was your timestamp in the end? Were
We
you?
didn't have
Oh,
timestamps
that's
on the
right. We
GBA.
didn't. That's right. We had to
There's
guess. I
no
just kept like
timestamps.
making a
There's no
mark.
timestamps on the GBA.
Yeah. So with the Switch, I kept like just writing down the number like in my phone, and I think I ended up at like 40 some in
Yeah, it
there,
had to
something like
be. It
that.
had to be in the 40s. It had to be like
Yeah.
35, 40 hours. Honestly, it wasn't like, I don't know. It passed. It passed the time, but like I said, it was just one of those things where, I mean, for me, the biggest issue was like you start off and you're like, okay, like you get framed for stealing something. It started off good. You go to this
Yeah.
Coliseum town. You're doing all these things. I'm like,
Absolutely.
okay, this is
I was super
dope.
intrigued. You start, yeah, and your character's like, he has this flashback of when he was a kid, and then suddenly, like, none of the people in the village know who you are.
Yeah.
And then they like cast you out as like a orphan, and then you like start out with, yeah, getting your little friend there, your little orphan friend, getting framed. So it's like it was just like bam, 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 right at the beginning. I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued. I'm into this. This is interesting. So you end up having to have your friend, the character's Bo. He's like this dog who uses a bow and has healing spells. He's really, he's cute. He's got this cute, pudgy face. Anyway, he ends up getting framed for stealing this item from this rich guy, and so you have to like basically
Prove his innocence.
prove his thank
Yeah.
you, prove his
Mhm.
innocence. And so you end up without your friend, and then it's just you and kind of going into the world. And right at that point, it was a little rough for me because again, I was playing the Super Nintendo version, so it was a little bit hard. So I had to grind a little bit, and then I kind of kept going. But then you go to like a Coliseum because you hear, oh, about this person that would be entering the Coliseum that matches the description of the person your character Bo saw that would be the actual person who stole the item and stuff. So you like it kind of all sort of flowed into each other very quickly. And I found myself really intrigued of where it was going. And when Kat got onto the scene and her just being this kind of like strong female and like not listening to you at first, and because you're trying to warn her about this conspiracy going on, and she's like, I'm fine, kind of thing, and
Mhm.
you fight her and stuff, and she's super strong. I liked her vibe. I liked her character art.
Yeah, Cat was probably the best character in the game.
Oh
Let's
yeah,
be real.
100%.
Also,
Cat is the best character in this game. I
Cat
agree.
bailed me out in plenty of situations in combat too. Like
She was such a
she was
great
so
character
fast.
to use in battle. She was a really interesting like character for her like plot line and stuff. And like I just liked her design. I thought her design was really cool. I know I tend to be favoriting the bow staff kind of characters lately, but I liked her. I
You're
liked
giving
her.
a lot of love to this game, Polly. I feel like you enjoyed this game more than you're letting on. Because you're giving a lot of love to this game.
I
There's
really
a
like
lot
the
of
art. I like the pixel art, and I liked Cat a lot, and I kept her
You're-
in my party like the whole game.
you're giving a lot. Like Grandia 3, you came in and you were shots were firing. Like you came in hot with Grandia 3. This game, I'm feeling like you're liking this a little more than you're leading on. Like, because I got nothing but bad things to say. After you get Cat, I got nothing but bad things to say. It's Backtrack City. You end up like meeting some like super sexist like monkey dude. Like he was the worst.
Sten
and then
was the absolute one of
Yeah.
the worst characters
you
I've
get
ever.
Sten, he's
Ugh.
awful. Then you meet this like
He's not even
comic
good in
relief
battle.
French frog, and like
I was mad about that. I was mad because there's so many people who like that character, but I don't like. I tend to not like, sometimes I'm okay with like the stereotype stuff, but like, I don't know, he just rubbed me the wrong way from
That's
the
fair. It was
start.
weird. It was weird.
He
And
was
then
weird. Yeah, that's
his
it.
story arc, you're
And
like,
I
you
like
go into
frog
a
characters. Like,
you
give me
go into
frog
a
from Chrono
witch's
Trigger.
tower. You go into a witch's tower, and then you have to like go find the witch at this cafe, and then they try to cook you, and then you have to like fight your way out of being cooked, and then you gotta go into like a fucking toilet to get a ring. Like, it's just fucking dumb. Like, I'm sorry. It's stupid. Like, it just wasn't fun. And then I'm like, okay, then we're like getting into a cooking contest where you gotta get like you gotta chase down some fucking fly. And I'm just like, am I Goku at King Kai's place? Like trying to chase around Bubbles and Jeffrey or Gregory or whatever the hell his name is? I'm like, come on, this is dumb. Like, I just want a real substance in this game. And then it's like, you keep going through, and then you're inside of a whale, and you're like,
yeah, which, like,
okay, now it's Monstro
now.
all over again. Oh my goodness. And then it's like, you fight this like angry dream thing, and I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, we wake up the whale, all of a sudden the whale is now our ship.
Our shit, yeah. I was like
it just, oh my goodness, it drove me nuts. And then like you do a bunch of other things. You go into a tree's memories, like you get like a tree spirit elf thing. Like, there's just so many weird things that happen in this game. And then finally they hit you with all of the fucking dark, like actual good story beats.
Yeah.
In the last like 3 hours of the game.
You know what it felt like? It felt like an anime that got past the manga and then just stuck you with so much filler to get like to just keep you to hopefully keep you there, and then finally catch up to the manga and finish the plot. That's what it felt like, because it started off strong and then it kind of lost its way with, like you said, I mean, even when we started to see like Nina and stuff like that, shortly after that we get Sten as a character, and right away he's just a problem, and he's not even good as a character. And like, I didn't even care. I'm sorry, I'm gonna just say it right now, I didn't care about his story. I didn't care about his backstory.
Neither did I. I don't even remember.
I was like half asleep.
I don't remember his
please
backstory because it was
this.
irrelevant.
I wish it was like, I wish some of that stuff was like optional, like going through his like stupid stuff was optional and stuff. But then the game would be really short because there was so much like random attempts at humor and weird stuff. It honestly felt like a D&D campaign where like the DM didn't know what they wanted to do. They had this like good start and good ending, but they had no idea how to bridge the two together. And then it's just like, oh, well, let's put this really sexist character in there. Yeah, that'll get some laughs. And oh, we'll just put this stereotype in there. That'll get some laughs, this creepy frog guy. And then, oh yeah, we're gonna, make the whale into the ship that you use that is like referencing Moby Dick, but not really. And then yeah, it just felt like there was so many like throws of random plot, and that's another reason why I like the first game better, because it is shorter and it's more to the point.
It sounds like it. I mean, honestly, most games are more cohesive than this one.
Fair. I was expecting this to be like a step up from a one, and like in some situations it was. I didn't find I had to backtrack as much as I did in the first game. But
if there's more backtracking in the first game than there is in this one, you had to go back to your freaking town.
Oh yeah,
okay.
You
so
might
much.
be right. I'm thinking about it, and I think maybe 2 had more backtracking than 1, because 1 is also a shorter game. So I think it.
The first like 10 to 15 hours, you're backtracking to your main town, which
which is frustrating as hell, because you don't get the way to get there quickly until like near like over halfway through the game.
Yep,
and it's just like, what?
Yeah, and then like. Then the worst part is they make the fast travel They like give you another means of fast travel, and that's good. And then, but the best way of fast travel is literally hidden. You don't even necessarily, might not even necessarily get it. Like, okay, big spoilers coming here, but like, you get into a boss fight where you're literally fighting like your father, who's like part of this like machine cybernetic thing. And if you kill him, you can't get the damn like
Good
best
ending.
means of transportation.
Yeah.
And you can't get the best ending because it's tied to the best ending also.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Which I kind of stumbled into that and then realized I was on the path for it. So I just kept like, I read the guide on what left I had to do to get it because I kind of like stumbled into it. And so, yeah, they put stuff behind, and one of the cooler looking characters of the game is also optional, who I also stumbled across. And
I don't know how you stumbled across. I have no idea how you stumbled across that. That is wild. Because
I think so. I had like little like bits of the guide, and I think something like tipped me off. Because,
okay, that makes more sense. Because I was gonna say that was like to get that
like,
character, you had to like go into the. I don't know if it's the same in the SNES version, but in the GBA version, you had to go into like a random place in the desert, and then talk to the people, and then like it wasn't clear where to go, and you'd like go back to the very first town and go into like the school and talk to a random NPC in the back of the school, and they're just like,
so
oh, I'm this person.
Yeah, I must. Yeah, I think so. When I was doing it or whatever, that's the same with the Super Nintendo version of it.
Okay.
Is that I ended up kind of like going around and going back and stuff like that to places and stuff because I couldn't figure out where to go at a particular, like I couldn't figure out to go. So I ended up going into the sand village, and then I was talking to people and I was like alluding to it. And then I was like, what is this alluding to? And then I looked at the guide and I was like, okay. And so I got a little bit of a tip, and then I kind of stumbled through the rest of it. Like I didn't read exactly how to do it. I just read like bits of it that like going. And that's another problem with this game, as the first game has. It makes me feel like it was built to force you to buy the strategy guide.
Yeah. I mean, that's just 90s.
I know that's a 90s thing, and I know that's
action
very
adventure,
strongly
like,
a 90s
adventure
thing, like,
RPG games. Like adventure games / RPGs.
Yeah,
that's just
Super Nintendo, PlayStation 1 era, even some PlayStation 2 era games have that, like where they were trying to pair the strategy guide with it and try to get you to buy both the game and the guide. And Breath of Fire 1 and Breath of Fire 2 both suffer from that, where they rely a little heavily on a guide. And I think if you're not like at least glancing at a guide like me or going through the guide like KJ, I think you're going to have a real bad time because you miss stuff, and then like you'll miss a character that's really cool. You'll miss like the
shamans. You don't get all the shaman. Yeah, you can't get all the shamans
stuff,
without a guide.
Things like that you miss so much of the game that it's like, yeah, and I get that's like that part of the time, so I don't want to like harp on it too much.
Yeah,
but it was just. I will say I did stumble on the best weapon for Ryu.
Oh, I definitely did not do.
I kept going to random fishing spots.
I didn't do any fishing. No, fuck that.
Yeah, so
nope,
I was
pass.
like, I'm trying to find like something that I was like, thanks. So I was doing the random fishing stuff. Definitely prefer the fishing version in the third game over the second game. But one thing that I do want to really talk about, because this is something, because KJ hasn't played the first game. This game did tie into the first game a lot more than I thought it was going to be. Like I knew it was 500 years set in the future kind of thing. And of the first game, like I knew it was set in the future of the game. And like at the beginning of a guide I was looking at, it said like 500 years and stuff like that. I'm like, okay. And they have references throughout this game that connect to the first game. Some of the names like Ryu, Nina, Bo, Rand, I think as well, actually. And then even like when you're doing the whole Nina like quest line and stuff like that, you actually see like you have the experience with the Nina of the first game, which was kind of cool, which I really liked because it actually ties in that Nina is a descendant of that Nina, which was cool. And there's like connections of like even like the bad guy, or no, the tree is referenced in the first game as well, and talked about and alluded to that. And even the end, like the bad guy, the big evil sort of scenario that I was building up to is also referenced in the first game. So it has a lot more ties into it than I thought it would, which was intriguing to me. And I think that helped get me going. I feel really let down by the Nina storyline though. You start off of like finding out that she's like exiled because her people believe that those born with black wings is a bad omen and sort of idea. So you get her in the party and everything. And I liked her character design. I liked the kind of the aspect of her. But again, the Nina situation with me is I usually replace her in my Breath of Fire playthroughs. I feel bad because I end up liking Nina, but she gets thrown out of the party pretty quickly. But
Now, Nina was in my party the whole game in this game.
Oh, really?
Nina was. Oh yeah, no, Nina.
I didn't use her the whole time.
Nina was in my party.
Maybe about halfway.
Nina was a mainstay. Like Nina was really solid.
I think her design in the second game is the coolest design out of all the Ninas I've seen them all now. Of all the Breath of Fire games, I think Nina's design in 2 is coolest. I felt let down by her storyline. I felt like it kind of got like a little bit like pulled away a little bit, and it was a lot less impactful than I thought it was going to be.
I mean, I think the biggest reason why I think the biggest thing for me as to why Nina wasn't really important is because there was another character. Like Nina is typically like almost like the female lead. At least that's, I feel like, how it's like portrayed or painted, like the picture that's painted. Yet by the end of the game, it was very clear that that wasn't how she was actually being used as like in the plot.
Yeah.
Because like there's this like whole Ryu has a sister, and it's just like, okay, well now that's really who is like the more important character, and that kind of takes away from Nina. I do agree that part definitely made Nina feel less.
Yeah, I kind of wish they would have made that part more like I get they had the very start where like Ryo had the sister and blah blah blah, and like I knew it was going to be revealed a little bit like more like pow by the end and stuff like that. But I felt let down, and I felt like it overshadowed. And you're right. I think that part of the storyline really pulls you away from the whole like Nina stuff. And I think maybe it would have been better if they would have just like more or less streamlined it to be Nina, because I think 4 is the only one where I felt like Nina has like a much more bigger role in the plot than anything else, because even in 3, like she's relevant really strongly, and I don't want to talk too much about it 3 actually, but like yeah, so like I was looking forward to 2 because I like the design and everything, and I felt like they kind of pushed Nina a little bit more to the side there for in favor of Ryu's sister and that plot line and the final bits and stuff. But the plot, like the ending and things like that, and like the tie-ins to the very beginning of the game and everything that hooks you initially is interesting and stuff. But by the time you get there, you're just tired. Like you're just there's tired, just too much filler.
Tired is the right word. There was way too much filler.
Yeah. It was too much filler. It's like an anime that has way too much filler and very little plot, that it makes it really difficult to be like, this is a good anime. Like if you maybe cut out all that filler, it was like, because like there was parts of the story I really liked. It's just it got overshadowed by these stupid characters and these stupid like 80s cartoon or 90s cartoon gimmick stuff, and like, you know, toilet jokes. I don't.
The last like 5 hours of the game, even with like the final dungeon being like very ridiculous in terms of the
don't remind
in
me.
terms of the encounter rate and all of that. And like,
Every
I first tried
step, every second step for me, I was mad.
those bosses were brutal. But like going through like, and I was fine with that. I was like, all right, whatever. It's a challenge. Like I had to use all of my resources, but like the dark tones and the death stuff, like all of that in the last like 5 hours, it hit. But by that point, I was so fed up with the game. I was so fed up with the game. I'm like, yo, the fact that you just killed off this character, that was a good play.
It was. Like, when it hits, but it hits too long after you're bored.
Yeah, like, it just doesn't. It didn't hit because of the fact that I was checked out. I was checked out of the game.
I think if they would have, honestly, if they ever like remake this game or anything like that, I think if they took out a lot of that nonsense in the middle and just kind of streamlined it a little bit more, where the
I don't think the
overarching plot is still like prevalent all the way throughout it, I think, you know, it would have been like hit it when you got to the end. I might have been like a little bit more like, oh my goodness, like holy shit, like that kind of thing.
I don't think they can. Like,
yeah, they'd have to remove characters or change characters, or
there would be too much stuff. Because like, so the walkthrough that I looked at,
rewriting the whole game almost.
Yeah, the guide / walkthrough that I looked at, it was like 18 chapters, right? And the first basically from like chapter 4 until like, I don't know, chapter 16, it's all just like 15 till chapter 15. That's when all the church stuff starts happening. It's pretty much just like filler, funny comic relief stuff. And I'm just like, I just checked out. I was like, I'm done. Like, put my hands up and was like, I'm going to finish the game, but that's it. That's it. Like, I was like, I can't do it.
Yeah. And like, I felt the same way, and like maybe we are just not the audience for that kind of humor and that kind of.
I'm definitely not the audience for this game.
the silliness of it and stuff, but like I think it's because I've played so many games at this point, especially RPGs, where I get bits and pieces that in other games and stuff like that. Like you get the like Live Alive, for example, with the poop jokes and stuff like that for the prehistoric time period of it. Like bits and pieces of having it in a game is one thing, but it felt like they had a good start and good ending, and they just didn't know how to get to point A to point B. And so like the middle is just all this kind of random, different trope, different jokes, different things thrown at it, hoping something sticks. And yeah, by the time I got through it, I was just kind of, when I beat the game, I just was like, I put it down, picked up my phone, and loaded up Start Rail immediately. Like I was just like, and I'm done.
I picked up my phone, placed the game in the case that I had for it, took pictures of it, and sold it. Because I was like, yo, it honestly was just like, it was just so many different combinations of things that they tried to do. And it really was just like, okay, we're going to try this weird tropey thing. We're going to try this weird tropey thing. We're going to try this weird tropey thing.
It was like throwing spaghetti at a wall and hoping something sticks. And sure, that might be good for some people, and maybe some people could appreciate and I can kind of see the thought behind trying different things and stuff like that, but I feel like having like your like
in this case
giant portion of your game being that is a little,
I was gonna say
rough. Is a little rough. It really makes me feel like they just didn't know what to do, so they just kind of did everything. Like
there's trying stuff, and there's like trying to be different. Like there is that is definitely a thing, but
and this is not the thing, but
it's not what they did at all. Like this definitely felt like it was like, I mean, really what it came down to is it was trying to, you could tell it was trying to be, and this was brought up, It was trying to be different from Final Fantasy. That's really what it came down to.
Yeah,
it was trying to be different.
Too.
Like
it was
Final Fantasy, and honestly, it's one of those things where I played Final Fantasy 1 right before this game. Like Final Fantasy 1 was the last game that I beat before this game.
Oh, that's
and so,
right.
Like,
yeah, you had beaten 1 just before this.
Yeah, so I feel like it definitely took some of the things that Final Fantasy 1 had and was like, okay, we need to really figure some way to do something different and make sure that like we're not doing that. So that's why you had, instead of like an airship or something like that, you had the freaking whale and you had the floating town and shit like
and
that.
The bird.
Because
and
the bird, yeah.
I was like,
yeah, you had all these different
bird in town, like.
Mm-hmm. And they did that because they wanted to be different. They wanted to. They wanted
That's
to
a great
feel
point.
like
I didn't even think
game,
about that because I haven't played a Final Fantasy game in a while. But for the time period, because Square was the giant, and like a lot of these companies, like Capcom was a giant in a different avenue. Like they had Street Fighter, and they had other games that they were like prevalent for.
Yeah.
So RPGs wasn't one of them at the time. So they had one, but obviously like one had some criticisms and stuff like that.
I'm trying to bite my tongue because I have an opinion. Trying to bite my tongue because I have an opinion. Maybe
Square was the giant and stuff like that. And yeah, you know what? They probably were trying to purposely be different from Final Fantasy to try to stand out, but I think they missed the mark.
I think they missed the mark.
There's no
I think about it.
What were you trying to bite your tongue on? Now I'm curious.
I think they should stay away from RPGs. I think Capcom needs to stay in their lane. Capcom, stay in your lane, bro.
Okay, come on. Monster Hunter is great. Well, I guess Monster Hunter is more of like action-y RPG.
Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane, Capcom. You make some good games, yo. Stick to Street Fighter. I suck at Street Fighter, but yo, stick to Street Fighter. Street Fighter's a hit. Like, yo, stay in your lane.
Monster Hunter is great. I know you won't agree with me, but I like Monster Hunter.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. No JRPGs. No turn-based RPGs for you.
Yo.
But yeah, it's. And at the time, like I can get the pressure of trying to be different than Final Fantasy, and then Square being also a big company, and like monopolizing that like area and stuff like that. I get it. And I definitely have a stronger opinion of 3 than you do, and then 4 I actually really like too. But playing this, like I played 1 and like needed a break from Breath of Fire for a while, and now playing 2 and then just being like, so how about that Wuthering Waves game? Like I just want to like look at like completely different RPGs at this point. Like I'm just like, oh goodness. There were aspects of the game that I think I liked more than KJ. Like KJ immediately before we started this was like, I didn't like the music. I like some of the tracks of the soundtrack. I like the OST personally, but certain tracks didn't hit for me, but some of them did. I like the OST. I like the art style. I like the both in combat and outside of combat. And there were like I said, I liked the beginning of the game. I liked when you finally got going on the plot at like chapter 7, 15, 16, whatever it was. And I liked the throw tie-ins to other Breath of Fire games, including the first one. That was really cool, especially because one of the hidden characters is, I'm pretty sure, at least in the first 3, 4. I don't know how many she's in, but she was in the first game too. So I thought it was really cool for the hidden character to be a part of that and like that tie-in and everything. I thought that was cool, and I like her character design and everything. So I didn't like the tree.
The tree was weird. It was
the tree lady thing was. I didn't like that. I didn't like the frog. I love frogs. Okay, I collect frogs. I have like a frog outfit that people have commented on and stuff like
Wait,
that.
you have
and
a frog?
you give me a
when are we
frog in
getting?
a game, and immediately I'm like, hello. And then you give
Wait,
him
are
a
we getting?
French
Are we
name,
getting
and I
lore
start to
here?
go,
Are we getting a Polly Frog cosplay? Is that happening?
KJ? KJ, please. I'm not. Although
The next-
I thought about
here we
just
go.
coming
The
on
next
stream
podcast-
with like a 3D printed frog head from Chrono Trigger.
The next podcast episode, Polly. For anybody that watches on YouTube, Polly will be in a frog costume. Apparently, that's what I'm hearing.
Stop. So I was super excited that there was a frog character in this game, and then I was like, "Ooh, frog character!" And it's like they have a French name, like a French loaded game, and then it got weird, and then I was like, "Oh, I get it. It's a stupid stereotype trope thing, and it's in a bunch of stuff, but oh my god, I'm so sick of it." Anyway, so you get that. You get a monkey character that is annoying and perverted and stuff. Like, they're just the good characters that I liked. The bad characters outweighed them. Like, the bad characters were really bad, and then the good characters were like, they're good.
I was gonna say
kind
the
of thing.
characters were
Except for
very.
Cat.
They were very
I will
average.
stand on the hill and die of. She's great, and I love her.
The characters, for the most part, were average or bad. That's my.
And I was disappointed because the Nina design hit so hard. She looked
The Nina
so
design
cool.
was cool.
With
Yeah.
the black wings and like the blue dress with like the slit up one leg, and like I was for it with the longer hair, and I was super into her design. I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. And then they started her out being like, oh, she was exiled because she's a bad omen. I was super into it.
Yeah,
And
they
then it was
they had
like,
a lot of potential with that plot line, and then like a lot
Give
of
me
the
more
things
of
in this.
that than the stupid filler frog sexist monkey thing. Like, just
A lot of
give me more Nina and less of that, and I would have
a lot of the opportunity that they had, like most of this game, they dropped it on the floor. Like, they had a lot of possibilities,
so
and
much.
they really dropped the ball. Now, I'm gonna beat you to the punch because you said something earlier. How do you feel about this game? Where are you rating this? I beat you to it. I beat you to it. No. Yep,
AJ!
we gotta know. Everybody wants to know because you seem to really enjoy this game.
Stop.
I wasn't really. You seem to
beat-
enjoy this game. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
So I've talked about the things that I liked. I've talked about the things I really didn't like. I definitely was not selling the game immediately. Though Peastone and Dark's jokes about getting me the Breath of Fire 2 strategy guide, I definitely wanted to throw a pillow at them. No, my collection to complete is the Breath of Fire 4 strategy guide and the art book. That's all I want left of my Breath of Fire stuff. However, when I was so I have my notes right here. If you see me looking to the side, it's because I have notes here.
Yeah, do your thing. Do your thing.
I took notes and everything. So I tried to do like a point system, right? And I tried to break it all down, and like, I like the music. I would give it like a 7. I like the art. I gave that an 8 because I actually really did like the pixel art style, especially the combat, like art and everything.
Yeah, the art isn't bad. I can understand that.
I was into it. It was good. Like, I also favor 3 over 4 because of like 2. Definitely, I can see what they took from 2 in 3, and built upon.
Same.
And
I can
stuff
see
like
the
that,
bad
so.
things they took in 2 and put in 3 too. But
I am a little sad about that. Not gonna lie. I also felt like they took the bad out of 1 and put it in 2.
That's not good.
So like,
Because that might mean
like,
some
come
real
on,
awful.
stop it.
That might mean some real awful mechanics made it from 1 to 3.
Anyway, but like, I couldn't rank the story very high because the story is like 4 hours of the game. The rest is just
Filler.
filler. Yeah. So like, I couldn't give it a very high ranking. Unfortunately, I gave the story like a 5.5 because it was just, there was like a nub of it and then nothing. Like it, and like, the characters, I even wrote down like the character stuff, and I was like, okay, can I score the like how can I score this? And like I scored like Kat a freaking like 9 out of 10. I was all for her and stuff. But then like even Nina, despite her design and stuff like that, her story kind of got overshadowed. It kind of like fell a little bit pretty flat, and so like I scored her like a 7, and then like Jean got like a 1, the monkey got a -10, like, and when you start doing the math, it just it starts to hurt there. So like I feel bad because I know a lot of people who love this game.
This is not about other people. This is about your ranking.
I try to like it, but I just KJ.
You're being too nice, and your Canadian is coming out. Just like step back and be blunt and honest and just talk about how you feel about the game.
I want my 35 hours back. And
Same.
I want my 35 hours back. And
I at least recouped the money I spent. I didn't recoup the hours, but I recouped the money.
I will say though, the bits of the story that I did like hit harder for me than Grandia 3 story.
Really?
Yeah, the little bits did there, but it was very much like Grandia 3 for me. This hurts. This hurts because I wanted to like this game, and there's so much about it that I felt like was just KJ, this gets my lowest score. This was a 5.5 for me.
Oh, wow. So this game.
If you're higher than me, I'm going to be so upset because I tried hard to pull it.
Hell no. Hell no.
Pull it higher, but I was like, I can't.
I got you. Okay. So I'm going to preface this with saying, after I beat the game, I was like, you know, maybe 6. Like, they kind of redeem themselves at the end. And then the more I sit on like this game and think about it, the worse it gets.
That's my problem. I went from like a 6 to 5.5. Now I'm starting to think I'm a 5. Like I'm starting to second guess my own notes because
here's my thing.
Things you said.
So like we've played some games that I've been very critical of. We played Kudelka. Mm-hmm. Kudelka's a better game than this game. We played Grandia 3. We played Grandia 3. Grandia 3 is a better game than this game. We played fucking Phantasy Star 4. That's a better game than this game. This game isn't good. Like, this game is like a crisp 3.5. Like, it's not good. Like, the redeeming factors. I think the Canadian
was giving it a 5.5. I think I'm at 5.
The redeeming factors.
I think I'm being too nice, but like, yeah. I'm the same as you. The more I thought about it, the more I just got angry, and I had to play something that made me happy.
This is one of the worst games I've finished in a while. Like, it was not good. And like, it was rough. It was hard to get through. Like, I pushed through because you and P-Stone were playing, and I was like, all right, y'all are ahead of me. Like, maybe there's something I'm missing. Like,
and it was so funny.
I was like, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like, I'll keep pushing. Honestly, the sheer fact that this game took me like 35, 40 hours and the Quiet Man is only 3 hours, I would rather play the Quiet Man than this game. No cap. I would rather play the Quiet Man than play Breath of Fire 2 again.
Capcom's gonna come through and like take my sweater away from me. Like, they're gonna be like, you don't deserve to have Capcom creator stuff.
The thing is, this can be completely separate from your Capcom creator stuff. It's okay.
I mean, I'm not doing it on my. This is a Turnbased Tangents channel.
Exactly. Yo, this game. This is 35, 40 hours that like I'm not getting back. And it's the sheer length. Like, if this was like a 15-hour game with the problems that I have with it, it wouldn't be that bad.
That's why I like one more than two. And that's what I was trying to explain to people is I like one more than two because it's shorter. it's shorter. So it's like,
Mhm.
like you said, there's bad stuff of this game. If it was a lot shorter, you could like gloss over it because it's a shorter game, right?
Mhm.
But because it's such a long game, and then there's so much things like put behind, if you don't have a guide, you're really like not getting all the stuff, that it just sours the experience of it. Whereas one, yes, has some of the problems of two as well. However, it's like
This
a 15-20 hour game at most. So like,
and yeah, it's just like
I
yeah,
like one
it
more
was
than
pain.
two. I would give like one a 6, maybe 6.5. So like one ranks higher than me than two, and that's like, yeah, this is the worst. This is the game I've scored the lowest
Oh,
in
this is
our
by
podcast
far.
history.
This is
But
by
also,
far the
I
lowest I've
agree
scored a
with you.
game.
This is one of the like, this was such a letdown for me personally because I like um 3 and 4, and I really did want to like complete all five. Like I wanted to play all 5 games, and I was actually really looking forward to it and excited because anytime I did play this game, I got through the first 3 or 4 hours, which is the like the
Oh,
part where you're
that's
like,
yo,
oh,
you
this
were
is good.
cruising. You were
Yeah,
feeling real good.
exactly. So that's why I suggested it. And it's the same reason why I suggested Grandia 3 in a sense, is because I love 2. We played 1 on the podcast and we really loved it too.
Oh, yeah,
So
Grandia 1's a gem.
yeah,
Grandia 3
1 and
not so
2 were
much.
fantastic. And then I'm like, okay, they have the third one. I had heard bad things about Extreme, but I hadn't heard bad things about 3. So I was like, okay, interesting. So like I suggested that. And now I just feel horrible because it's been 2 of them in the same year. And I feel so bad because even like it went Grandia 3, and that was rough. And then we had the last story, which
Last story was
good,
solid.
but like,
It wasn't like
but it
great,
wasn't
but it
like,
wasn't bad.
yeah, it wasn't
It's
like
an average
mind
game.
blowing. And then
Yeah.
we get Unicorn Overlord, and both of us are like foaming at the mouth, loving this game. And then we get Breath of Fire 2. And so it was like, and it felt like more of a blow to me. 1, because I suggested it, but also 2, because it's like this is the series. I like this series. I like screaming at Capcom to do something with it. And now I'm just like, and we'll delete this message and delete this message and delete this. Just yay, Monster Hunter!
I
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good. Honestly, this like I've played Breath of Fire 3. I've played this now. I'm kind of good on the Breath of Fire series for a while. Like
You tried a little bit of 5 and didn't like it too, right?
I'm like Breath of I played about an hour of Dragon Quarter, and that game got the Breath of Fire 2 treatment. That game
It got sold right away. Yeah,
that game got
remember.
sold immediately. Yeah, that was like, ooh, back up. I have no intention on playing Breath of Fire 1 after playing 2. And Breath of Fire 4 might be the saving grace because that game is like the best looking PS1 game I've seen, in my opinion. But I don't know. Breath of Fire probably should have been I step back. Breath of Fire could have been a pass for me as a series, and like I think it would have been okay. Like I think I'm not missing much by not playing. But if I would remove my experience with the Breath of Fire series to this point, I don't feel like I would be missing a whole bunch. Maybe some good music from Breath of Fire 3 and some cool character designs and cool pixel art, but like I'm feeling some type of way about Breath of Fire. So yeah,
Whereas I don't feel that strongly about it, but I also, the only one that I've really like just not liked was this one. And even Dragon Quarter, like I just pretend that's not a Breath of Fire game, and then I enjoy it because I like the mechanics, I like the things that they tried to do with it, and it was kind of really interesting to get like different endings and stuff. But for me, it hurt when I was like, wait, 1's better than this? Because there was parts of 1 where I was just like, this is BS. And so, but like I adore 3. I love 3. And I love 4 a lot. So it's like, I'm not washed out of the series, but I definitely am not. I'm not happy with 2, and don't know if my GBA copy is going to stay with me or not. Especially if I keep like the Switch port thing. Oh my goodness. And that, I'm so mad. I should have never played the Switch version. I should have just stuck
That's
with the
on
GBA.
you.
I wanted to be different.
You wanted to be different. You wanted to trick everybody. And not only did
I thought it'd be funny. I thought it'd be funny, and it'd be like,
not only did you suffer with a harder game, you also are now gonna like the rewind jokes are not going away.
It's not fair. I only did like 10 minutes of it.
You might wake up tomorrow and I might have the like rewind arrows as an emote on Twitch. Like
I swear, if you make another emote digging at me, I'm still mad at the Josette emote.
But
oh goodness.
Okay,
well, so this was a very opinionated episode. Honestly, we've gone longer than I thought we were gonna go because both of us were feeling a kind of way, and neither one of us like full on knew how we like when we come into these reviews. We try to like not like disclose too much to each other of things, but like it was hard to hold this one back. And I knew exactly how KJ felt. And then for me, I just kept making a longer list. And I was like, okay, me having to write out this whole thing to like justify I'm being too nice.
I was going to say, I knew exactly what you were going to do. You were going to get on here and you were going to be like, it wasn't that bad. And I'm just like, no, just stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to the people.
Canadian.
Stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to the people. Rip off the Band-Aid and know that the game is just not very good. Like it's just not.
I'm gonna stick at the 5.
I'm chilling at 3.5. I'm chilling at 3.5.
It was a game.
3.5.
Functioned. That was it.
Yeah. 3.5 is where I'm gonna land because again, when I first finished the game, like the last like 5 hours were like a 6, and that was what I like. I even like I'm part of this like thing where we're tracking all of our games. I even rated it as a 6 on that, and now I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I'd have to go back and change that to like a 3. Like we're looking, it was real bad. Like I don't think I've ever beat a game and then sold it immediately. Like, I don't think I've ever
sold it. No, I don't think I've heard of you doing that. I've heard of you playing a game and selling it immediately. Dragon Quarter was one of them.
Yeah, no, like I'll play a game and I'll let a game like sit and decide if I want to get rid of it. But I beat that game and sold it immediately. Like there was no hell. I'm going to be real with y'all. I staged some of the pictures to sell the game before I beat the game. Like, I knew.
You're just like,
that game's fate was fucking decided.
This game was not redeemable to KJ's eyes.
No. It was listed before I left the Discord call. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. So, this game was real rough. But next game is gonna be. This is a game that's. So this isn't a full poly decision, but because like, yes, the allegations are there, and you cannot beat said allegations. That Grandia 3 and Breath of Fire 2 were both
mine. Yeah,
your suggestions.
Absolutely, mine.
So
yeah, I'll own it.
Oh,
Those two are mine. And Star Ocean 4 is mine too. I'm hoping I'm not going to be 3 for 3 this year.
I hope you're not 3 for 3 either, because I don't know if my heart can take.
I will break down on Turnbased Tangents. Just mark my words, y'all. For if Star Ocean 4 is trash, I'm gonna cry live on.
Please don't
YouTube.
do that.
I'm gonna cry live on YouTube.
Don't do that.
Because I'm gonna be so bad. Because that's 3 for 3. I'm hoping that won't be like. I'm hoping for at least a 7. Like, please, just 7.
A 7.
Can we get out of the 60% or lower with my suggestion?
So the next game is a game that I dropped as a teenager, and Polly has not played, but got it as a gift.
I did. Dark.
We kind of mutually decided, because I one day said the only way I'm going to beat this game is if we play it on the podcast, and then Polly said we should play it on the podcast this year. I was like, all right, fuck it, let's do it. So
yeah, because I got it gifted from Dark, and we have a rule in our community, KJ's and mine, that when we're gifted stuff, we keep stuff, right? So he gifted it to me because he wanted me to like play it and try it. Because I played Golden Sun 1 and 2, and I liked them. Liked 1 more than 2, but I played the
Golden Sun Dark Dawn. It's gonna be a time.
So this is Dark Dawn, and there's been so much already controversy of people pretending this game doesn't exist. So it's gonna be interesting. But yeah. So I had it as a gift, and I'm like, I was kind of in the same boat when KJ's like, if I'm not going to play this on the podcast, I don't know if I'm going to play this. And with my limited time, I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to stream this game. So I think this is also going to be if we don't do this on the podcast. So yeah, I was like, oh, we'll just do it this year. And that's our next game is Golden Sun Dark Dawn, which has
it's not going to be. I've said this numerous times. It's not going to be as well. First of all, it's not going to be as bad as this game. It damn sure won't be as bad as Breath of Fire 2.
I'm going to be like throwing the table.
No, the problem is it's a letdown for in comparison to the other Golden Sun games, but it's not going to be as bad as this. That's the hill that I'm going to stand on, and I'm really hoping that I get up here our next podcast and I'm like, I enjoyed the game. I'm hoping for that. The chances are very, very unlikely, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
We'll see. So that is our next one. Because the summer has ended up being really busy for KJ and I. For him, he's got a bunch of like weddings and things like that to do. And then I have a con at the end of June and a con at the beginning of August. It's kind of my con season is always this time. We stretched out the podcast episodes for so Breath of Fire 2 was to be May and June, but we both power through it and we actually beat it quite early into May actually. But we still kept on track to have the podcast episode at the end of the month. So next month we don't technically have one planned. We might do a special episode. We might not. June's kind of busy for both of us, so we'll see. We'll play it by ear. But our next one will be Golden Sun Dark Dawn, which is our July/August.
We'll see if it takes that long.
We'll see if it takes that long. We might do another thing where it's like, okay, we're doing the episode of July because we both beat it really quickly. And may or may not add another game or whatever. We'll see how we're feeling and stuff. But yeah, that's our next one. And it's a DS or 3DS game.
Regular DS game. Regular DS game.
That's it.
Yeah, it's regular DS game. It'll be okay.
We both own it. I got it as a gift from Dark. How did you get it?
I bought it.
Oh, you just bought it. Okay.
I bought it.
I was like, I thought yours was a gift too, but I couldn't remember.
I own the other 2 games. I might as well own the third one. Like that's effectively.
Okay, I see.
Now the real question is are you gonna like find some back road way to play it so you can use a rewind function or maybe a fast forward function this time or a save state? Like how we doing this? I need to know in advance, that way we have some kind of idea. Like you're gonna play it on the Steam Deck.
That was the episode of Turnbased Tangents. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm out because this bullying. I will not stand for all this bullying. I never bully. No, I can't say that.
You definitely set yourself up for this. I just want to say,
I will play it on its stupid hardware because that's the game that I have. So. I will. I like the feel of my DS actually. I like classic DS actually, but I also have the 3DS, which I think you can play classic DS in. But yeah,
you can play classic DS games. Yeah, so that's how we're gonna do this. But yeah, well we'll wrap up the at least recording aspect here. So appreciate y'all for joining us. And yeah, we'll catch y'all on the next episode.
Yeah, Golden Sun. Bye.
Okay. Now we're just live. So now we can interact with chat a little more. So Key, what had happened was Polly decided to hold off hold out the information or withhold the information that she played the SNES version on the Switch. But then she tells us that and opens up with, oh, it had a rewind function. So,
Listen,
yeah, you know, there are those of us that played.
Next time, I'm not telling you. I'm not going to tell you. No, I'm kidding. I thought it was. I was super shocked because I didn't know the Switch NES, Super NES had that function at all. I don't remember seeing it, but apparently it's something for all their SNES games. You can do it.
I just want to know where the rewind button is on my Game Boy so I can rewind too. That's what I want. I just want to know where the rewind button is.
All right, you get to talk to the rest of chat. I'm out. Listen, I don't need to be beaten up this bad, okay? I'm already sore today. I already got bruises. I got a bruise on my leg. Oh my goodness. And it was funny because I was like, how much would KJ hate me if I just rewind this whole game? No, it's not as useful as it was. Like when I used it for like the 10 minutes of battles, I saw the potential of it being useful, but I also like it would add time to the game quite a lot, because if you're constantly like backtracking battles, I was like, goodness, this is going to take even longer. And I was like, no, I'm not doing this. So it's interesting because I was like, do they have a fast forward button? I was like, no fast forward, just rewind. I didn't even know it had that. I didn't know that was a function for the Super
I honestly didn't either.
Thing.
I don't play any of the like Switch emulation games.
Oh no, because I beat Breath of Fire 1 on the GBA. So I played a little bit on the Switch port thing, but no, I beat it on the GBA. So yeah, I haven't really used it. Like I have it, but I've never really like used it a whole lot. Like Anno and I have loaded it up to just play random games, but I didn't know that function existed until I was playing Breath of Fire 2 and it like popped up down below being like, click, L2 R2 or L1 R1 or whatever for rewind function. And I was like, what? I was very confused.
That's crazy. Rewind, yo. A rewind function, that is
like it's a
crazy.
thing that the Switch gives you. Like it's on all the Super Nintendo games. You can do them, all of them. And I was like, huh? What?
They really
you can rewind up until the last minute or 2 minutes or something like that of the game.
What?
I was like, what? For like RPGs, broken. I'm like, huh? Like that is such like what? Yeah.
Yo, that's ridiculous. I'm not okay with this. I need to rewind like Polly, yo.
Okay. Twin. Listen.
So wait, is this okay, we're starting to put the pieces together. So like your love for Sonic and rewind, you got to go fast but backwards. Is this now canon? Is this the kid? Did we just figure out? Also, are you holding up a blue cloth?
I'm out. You're still picking on me. You're still bullying me. Stop bullying Polly. Yes, I was. It was my glasses cleaner. I have a blue cloth for my glasses.
Yeah, see, even Key said we can't be twins if you don't cheat. If he doesn't cheat, he means rewinds like you. I mean...
Okay, twin. You are already struggling to be my twin when you're not beating games over there. So, like, have you beaten, what was it? What's the game you've been working on? Brave Story?
He beat it yesterday.
I'm so proud of you, twin. Let's go.
When I told him that he was like very close to the end, he was like in the last chapter. He's like, all right, I got to beat this now. So.
Oh, I'm so proud of you, twin.
He did finish it.
Let's go.
He did finish it.
And maybe streaming Tales of Arise will get him to beat that one. Okay, P Stoney, why are we attacking Polly today? What did Polly do? You're gonna make me cry. Stop attacking me.
But yeah, so that's basically it. That's basically it.
Also, anybody in chat, if you haven't hit the little thumbs up button, hit that, please.
True.
That helps us on YouTube.
Hit that like button. That is...
And if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. I think you're all subscribed pretty well, but just in case anybody listening or anybody listening later. And it helps with YouTube's algorithms and all that stuff.
True that.
Mm-hmm. But we still did it. We did it in May. We still did it. It was so funny because I messaged KJ and he's just like, this is going to be a short episode because I'm tired. I didn't sleep well. And I was like, oh no. Because I was hoping, I was like, I'm exhausted because I went plant shopping and that tired me out a lot. And my leg was really, really hurting today. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah, we're chilling.
Oh, no.
I just had to.
But we did it. We did it.
We talked about this shitty game and now I got energy. I'm like,
now you're wide awake. You're like, yeah.
I'm here for shitting on this game. This game sucks. Game was real bad. It's funny
because like people have been like fighting me on this. I was pretty sure Bit was gonna cry when I said I liked one, when I alluded to liking one more than two.
Yo, I'll stand on the hill that
he hates one.
I'll stand on the hill that I think this is a bad game. Like, I'm not worried. If people ask me what I think about Breath of Fire 2, I'm going to say the game sucks.
There you go. There you go. I mean, we've already broken hearts with Grandia 3. It was so funny to have like TGC be like, oh no, and then go back and play it and goes, nah, I see your point. TGC actually went back and played Grandia 3 and was like, wait.
Stand on the hill with you. Meech, you didn't even, how much of the game did you played like 2 hours and was like, I'm out. Meech was like, Meech played like 2 hours, like, I'm done.
In your party? Who was the last character you had in your party? Like, who did you just last get? Like, what was the line that said Meech was like, fuck this, and like, gave up on it?
I feel like Meech started seeing some of the conversations we were having about it, and he was like, nah, this ain't worth it.
Part break, no!
Meech gave you the old college try. I'm pretty sure he put more than your 35 minutes in.
Yeah, he definitely did. Because he was...
I am curious where...
Yeah, I'm really curious. Because P-Stone and I were like pretty well neck and neck. And then P-Stone ended up beating it before me, but I beat it shortly after him and stuff like that. But we were like neck and neck. But I forget where...
Got the rat guy, got to the... Oh, okay. You actually did put a good amount of time in then.
Yeah, okay.
You put way more time in than you probably should have.
Yeah.
You probably put way more time in
than
you probably should have.
I thought you did, but also at the same time, I'm sorry, Meech. I'm sorry.
Yep.
You guys try to play these games with us, and P-Stone the trooper, because of the wall of fuck this game that P-Stone wrote in the current game chat. Oh, I was like, man.
Yeah, no, it was real rough.
Yeah,
it was real rough.
And it was hard because it was like, it was also just something where I like picked it up as something to do because I wasn't sleeping well. And then I was also waking up at stupid early for me. Normal time for the rest of you, but early for me. And so I was kind of like in this like, you know, bit of like, oh, I'll get things done, but like I didn't have like super energy because of my condition. So I was like, I could play the podcast game, and for me, I'm just like, oh yeah, and
I got off of work and I was like, I gotta play the podcast game.
yeah.
Fuck my life.
I felt so bad for you because you kept playing it after work, and I was like, oh, that's so disappointing to be like, I've done work, now I get to relax with this.
Yep, this was my fun time.
I'm so sorry. Whereas
it's
like
okay.
me, I was just up early in the morning with nothing to do, and I didn't want to like wake up Edo or anything. So I'm like, well, might as well play the podcast game.
And on that note,
yeah, I like that the next one is also still handheld because that's great. So like when I'm sleep deprived in July, I just
the next two are handheld.
Pick it up. Oh, right, because Legend of Legacy.
I mean, depends on what version you get it, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think we can wrap up.
Do you have the OG one, or do you have the HD?
I have the DS one. Yeah, I have the 3DS one rather. Yeah.
Okay. I think I'll get the remaster just so that we have a different version and see if it's
sounds good.
Any
yeah,
different.
I don't know what they changed, but I've had it for
neither do
3DS
I.
For a while,
but
so.
It's not too bad on Amazon, so I was like, okay, I think it's like $60 or $70 or something.
Yeah, I think the 3DS version is like $20.
Oh.
Yeah. I said the same thing to Peastone. He was like, "Oh, wait."
Yeah, we'll see what I'm like when we get closer to playing it. Like once I've got like beaten Golden Sun, I'll look at when to pick it up or whatever, and I'll see because maybe I'll go for the cheaper one. But yeah, on that note, thank you guys so much for hanging out.
Yeah, appreciate y'all as always.
To the Peastone trooper who who got through this game with us.
I was like, Peastone beat this game with us. That is. Big ups to Peastone for that. We didn't even
talk about in the podcast about the different endings too much, but that's okay. We didn't need to.
Nobody needs to get any ending in this game.
At least both of us got the same, and then Peastone got a different one.
I can literally show you the ending you should get in this game. You see it's on? Bam. That's the ending you should get. And then just put it down and never play it again. There you go. That's the ending you should get. Don't even get the...
So what are you going to do with the rest of your evening now that you're all fired up, KJ?
I'm going to go to sleep, but it's going to be okay.
You got an early morning stream tomorrow. You got to play Tales of the Abyss.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
To drop the mic, honestly, though.
You turn it on and you turn it back off and we're done.
Just don't... No. We good. But yeah, thank you, everybody. This has been awesome. Yeah.
Thanks for hanging with us.
And yeah, we'll be back soon. We don't know exactly when, just because of timing and everything, but we'll be back soon. So
yeah,
appreciate y'all.
Episode in June or July or whatever.
Yeah. Golden Sun Dark Dawn. It's gonna be a good time.
Mm-hmm.
On that note, we'll catch y'all later.
All right. Don't even turn it on. Just leave it off. True Beach. All right. Bye, guys.
Later, everybody.
Have a good night.